Hello, my name is Lance Casey, and I'm a private investigator in Sacramento, California. I specialize in conducting small claims court investigations. I help small claims plaintiffs by locating their debtor's legal name and address, serving the SC 100 plaintiff's claim in order to go to small claims court, serving the SC 107 small claim subpoena for personal appearance and production of documents. And my judgment collection agency will help you collect your judgment after you win in court. I am not an attorney and don't consider this legal advice. But watch the video until the end. I will give you one of my judgment recovery tips, how to locate the judgment debtor's current employer. What is small claims court? Small claims court is a special court where disputes are resolved quickly and inexpensively. The rules are simple and informal. The person who sues is the plaintiff. The person who is sued is the defendant. In small claims court, you may ask a lawyer for advice before you go to court, but you cannot have a lawyer in court. Your small claim cannot be for more than $5,000 if you are a business or public entity, or for more than $10,000 if you're a natural person. If you have a claim for more than this amount, you may sue in the civil division of the trial court, or you may sue in the small claims court and give up your right to the amount over the bill. You cannot, however, file more than 2 cases in small claims court for more than $2,500 each calendar year. Completing the court form SC 100 plaintiff's claim in order to go to small claims court is pretty simple. The most important part is, how did you identify the defendant? Who is the person that you're suing? If you get this step wrong, it could cause problems for you later when you're attempting to recover the judgment. You can fix it by filing the proper paperwork and fees with the county courthouse, but why not get it correct from the very beginning? You must sue using the defendant's exact legal name. I'm going to repeat that. You must sue using the defendant's exact legal name. That's very important. If the defendant is a business or corporation and you do not know the exact legal name, check with the state or local licensing agency, the county clerk's office, or the office of the Secretary of State. And if you're still having trouble determining the defendant's exact legal name, a private investigator, Sacramento, like myself, can help you with that. I can help you find the defendant's exact legal name so that when you complete the SC 100 complainant's claim in order to go to small claims court, when it's time to collect the judgment, you have the defendant's exact legal name. How does the defendant find out about the claim? This is where I can help you. I can serve your SC 100 plaintiff's claim in order to go to small claims court. You can also have your local county sheriff or marshal serve the defendant. Not the best choice. The best choice is hiring a local private investigator like myself to serve the defendant, the SC 100. Another option is to ask the clerk of the court to serve the defendant by certified mail. Now, the clerk is going to charge you a fee for this, and the defendant has to sign it when it's sent by the post office and delivered. And if you attempt certified mail, make sure you check in advance before court to determine whether or not the defendant signed for the SC 100 plaintiff's claim in order to go to small claims court. And if you find out that the defendant was not served properly this way, you can hire me, a process server Sacramento and a private investigator Sacramento, to serve the defendant your SC 100 plaintiff's claim in order to go to small claims court. What happens at the trial? Now make sure you're on time. Small claims trials are informal, but you must bring with you all your witnesses, books, receipts, and any other papers or things to prove your case. You may ask the witnesses to come to court voluntarily, or you may ask the clerk to issue a subpoena, which is Form SC 107, Small Claims Subpoena for personal appearance and production of documents. You could hire me, a process server Sacramento, to serve your SC 107 on your witnesses to compel them to come to trial. Or if you have documents that are in someone else's possession, I can serve that same SC 107 small claim subpoena for personal appearance and production of documents to have those documents available for trial. If you win at trial, you will get a notice of entry of judgment mailed to you from the court. And what happens next? You have to collect your judgment. Hopefully, you're one of the lucky ones where the judgment debtor, which is the person that you sued, pays you voluntarily. But most of the times, that's not the case. It's up to the judgment creditor, which is the person who filed the lawsuit, to take the proper steps to enforce the judgment. This includes locating the judgment debtor's employer, assets, bank account, or anything else that can be seized and sold to satisfy the judgment. Collecting the judgment can be harder than winning your small claims case. The process can take months. There are more forms to fill out and fees to be paid to enforce the judgment. There are more forms to serve on banks, employers, witnesses, property managers, and things like that. Okay, here's a judgment recovery tip I was telling you about. This is a strategy I use to locate a judgment debtor's employer so I could complete and file a WG-001 application for earnings withholding order wage garnishment. I wanted to seize the judgment debtor's funds from his employer. I knew that the judgment debtor lived in an apartment complex in Sacramento, California. I had visited the area and attempted to stake out the judgment debtor and follow the judgment debtor to work, but was unable to do so on this case. Some cases I do follow them to work, find out where they work, file the forms, and collect from their employers. But since I was unable to on this case, I had to find a different way. I figured that the judgment debtor had filled out a rental application when he applied to rent the apartment, and on that application, it most likely included their employer's information and banking information. And I also figured that the judgment debtor had paid rent at that apartment complex with either checks, electronic, or some kind of electronic process. Therefore, the property manager should have the judgment debtor's financial information, which I can utilize in enforcing this judgment. Most property management companies won't release the financial information on their tenants without a court order. Therefore, I had to schedule an examination in court, and to do so, I had to file an SC 134, order to produce statement of assets and appear for examination, pay a fee to the court, and I also filled out an SC 107, small claims subpoena for personal appearance and production of documents, which identified the property management company's name. And on this SC 107, you have to specifically identify what you're looking for. So you kind of have an idea of what records you would get from a property manager. So you ask for credit report, employment history, all copies of front and back of all checks, and any and all things used to pay the rent. And with that is where I began. And after these forms were filed with the court, you have to serve these forms. So even though I'm a private investigator and a process server in Sacramento, I had to hire a third party to serve the defendant, the SC-134 order to produce statement of assets and appear for examination, and I had to serve the property management company, the SC-107 small claim subpoena, for personal appearance and production of documents. And guess what happened a few weeks later? I got in the mail from the property management company a copy of the judgment debtor's credit report, and maybe they shouldn't have given it to me, but I asked for it and they gave it to me anyway. A copy of his rental application, which identified him, his social security number, where he works, where he banks, where he used to live, and copies of the checks that he wrote for the last 12 months. Now that the form is filled out correctly, it has to be served again and more fees paid. So I went to the Sacramento County Sheriff Civil Division and filed their forms and the WG-001 form, paid another fee, and hired another process server to serve the employer the earnings withholding order for the wage garnishment. The Sacramento County Sheriff Civil Division is the agency that actually receives the funds from the judgment debtor's employer and then will distribute the funds to the judgment creditor, the person who won the lawsuit. That's just one of the tips that I'll give you on how to find your judgment debtor's employer. Wouldn't you like to utilize my over 25 years of investigative experience to help you collect from the judgment debtor? I can help you track down the judgment debtor's employer, assets, bank account, anything else that can be seized to satisfy your judgment. And the best part is some of my fees to collect the judgment may be recoverable. Here's an example. You've won a judgment for $2,500 from the judgment debtor. You complete all the paperwork, and you hire me to serve the judgment debtor the SC-103 order to produce statement of assets and appear for examination, and you pay me $100. And you also hire me to serve the judgment debtor's landlord the SC-107 small claim subpoena for personal appearance and production of documents, and you pay me $75 for that service. Now, in order to recover some of the fees of collecting the judgment and filling out the forms and serving the SC-100, you file a MC-012 Memorandum of Cost After Judgment, Acknowledgement of Credit, and Declaration of Accrued Interest. On that form, you could put the fees of $175 in order to serve these documents. Now, when the Sheriff Civil Division goes to enforce the judgment, not only are they going to collect the $2,500, they're going to collect the $175 also. So now you've collected $2,675. You've collected some of the fees that were charged by a private investigator to locate the judgment debtor's assets. Ready to hire a private investigator in Sacramento who also is a judgment collection agency? Call the number on the screen, click the button on the screen, or look down in the description for a link to Judgment Collection Agency. Now again, if you want to utilize my over 25 years of investigative experience to help you locate the judgment debtor and their assets, call the number on the screen, click the button on the screen, or scroll down in the description for a link for Judgment Collection Agency.